Good afternoon and welcome to the Lotus Flower Podcast. I am your host, Reverend Dr. Pamela Robinson, and I bring you greetings on behalf of my handsome husband, Reverend Curtis L. Robinson Sr. We here at the Lotus Flower Podcast are so happy to be able to come to you once again, our listening audience. We want you to know that it is the lotus flower that blooms in adversity. The lotus flower is the greatest flower of them all. Why? Because it is a flower that's able to bloom and blossom even in adverse situations. It is the lotus flower that grows in the mud, the murk, and the mire. That flower starts as a seedling underneath all of that chaos, and it actually pushes itself up from the chaotic environment, pushes really, really, really hard. It has so much resistance and determination beneath the surface until it breaks forth out of that miry, muckery turbulence, and it blooms into this beautiful flower. And when it blooms, it gives off a fragrance that's astonishing and that's refreshing and purifying. That is what we liken our lotus flower guests' lives to. Many of the guests that come on and share with us have experienced some adverse situations in their lives, and they've experienced these situations. And when experiencing these situations, they've been able to bloom and blossom and push beyond the chaotic environments that sometimes they'll find themselves in. Why? Because they're planted and they're bloomed in good soil. And that is the soil of the Holy Spirit, of the Creator, of their Lord, and of their Savior. And we're grateful. So we want them to be able to share that fragrance that they're letting off from their lives with you, our listening audience. Be blessed by our guest. Today, we have a very special guest with us. Her name is Melanie Lee Haymon. She is a career educated nutritionalist. She's employed with the Los Angeles Unified School District. She's a certified yoga instructor, a gardener, a certified culinary nutritionist, living and raw food euthanasist, and a certified health minister. She became interested in health and wellness after high school because she did a family research project at that time that really was intriguing to her. It was in her college years that she became very interested in food science. So she decided to do a similar research project that she had did in high school. And it was at that time that it was revealed to Melody that her paternal family, they had high incidences of diabetes. Many of the elders in her family had passed away from complications of hypertension. So Melody, she decided to do something about this problem to correct it. So what did she do? She decided that she wanted to learn all that she could about the disease process and how it actually affected her family members. So Melody began to focus her studies on seniors, her family, and her friends with the thought in mind to be able to change their eating habits. So, in her business at this time, which is Mocha House Productions, Melody provides delicious, nutritious meals, and she makes fun when cooking the meals so that the people that are eating the meals will know that yes, we're eating healthy meals, but it's also a fun and happy and an joyous time. Melanie Lee Haymon. I told her and her sister that I believe that somewhere down the line that we are related because we both have the last name of Haymon. Haymon is maiden name and my name that I grew up with for my dad. And there aren't many Haymans out there. So we just calling ourselves cousins. Is that okay? Yes, it is. So once again, I'd like to welcome to the Lotus Flower podcast my cousin, Melanie Lee Haymon of Mocha House Productions and Melody Mocha Mills out of Los Angeles, California. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Good
It's all
morning.
good.
Yes, it is, because we're in all different time zones. So
Yeah.
why don't you greet our guests and tell us a little bit about yourself before we start our conversation?
Oh, wow. This is always a hard question. Um, I'm me. I'm number one. I'm the number one daughter of three of Juanita and OC Haman. And my sisters and I, we love to play with our number position. I'm
Okay.
number one, so I get all the goodies. And I
Okay.
had the experiences, right? I am very protective of my people. I do take being number one seriously. I do take being a sister seriously. Um, and not just to my birth sisters, but to my sister circle from college and high school and my career and education, all the people I meet, come encounter with. Somehow or another, I take them on as a sister, and I've been adopted into a lot of families. I have several surrogate mothers, and they take their position as my surrogate mother very seriously. All due
Amen.
respect to my birth mother, we all really enjoy that. That's important to me, you know, good vibrations from the universe and trying to share it with other people.
That's great. Now,
Me.
that's excellent. Now, you are a certified culinary nutritionist. Tell me a bit
Yes.
about what that entails, and how did you become interested in that particular career?
Okay. Certified culinary nutritionist is a person who uses food, okay, foods, nutrition to help heal the body. The human body is a self-healing body if we give it what it needs to nourishment that it needs to do the work. Um, I became interested because, well, that's like the last thing that I've done, became certified in nutrition. um, I really got immersed in food as a healing process when my mother was first diagnosed with cancer 14, 15 years ago.
Mhm.
And I was just like, she needs to eat better. And at that time, I became a health minister. I did some research, and then I found a Christian organization that certified you. And that is where I became raw food certified. And then as you continue to develop and grow, um, naturally one thing leads to another. And so the last one is becoming a certified culinary nutritionist, which means I cook foods that heal.
Okay. And when you cook the foods at Hill, how do you come about those recipes that you use for the food?
Um, in the classes that I've taken, we are informed of the foods, how different foods affect the body.
Mhm.
For example, more green foods, dark green leafy foods are more healing and for the body. We've learned that most meat is inflammatory and tears down the body, but it can be healing to a certain degree.
Mhm.
We've learned that the herbs that are kind of ignored, but now I
Mhm.
noticed in the last 5 years, they're starting to get some good play. The herbs are very healing and nourishing to the body. We think of drinking tea. most people only go as far as tea, but we
Mhm,
want to include it in our food. So,
mhm,
um, like parsley, that's the number one herb. Parsley and cilantro, those are my two favorites that I
mhm.
make sure I include in each meal.
And
And
why
so
why is
those
that?
help to
Why is
remove,
that,
they help
Melanie?
to remove those extra toxins from the body, the
Oh,
environmental toxins that we breathe into our bodies. They help to remove those from the body.
okay, cilantro and what else did you say?
Parsley.
Okay, mhm, okay,
Hmm.
okay,
Those are
and
my favorite.
okay, and you mix them it with all of your meals or just some things that you cook?
Predominantly, parsley goes on just about everything. It can go on just about everything. If you eat a lot of Italian or pasta, that's included in the mix
Yes.
anyway. But you want to finish off your foods with the ooh, excuse me, the herbs. Finish it off, like put it in the pot the last 5 minutes, or top your salads,
Mhm,
raw food meals with your parsley and your cilantro. Those can be mixed in more if it's uncooked, but because you don't want to cook out all the nutrition. Um,
mhm.
uh, which is something we do. As a people, we cook that food. We make sure it's cooked.
That's right.
Not only
Okay.
taste good, but huh?
Yes, we do.
We
We cook it
overcook our
all the
food.
way. Yes.
Our people, we overcook our food, and it took me a while to figure out exactly what it was. I've
Mhm,
always liked vegetables. Didn't
mhm,
like them as much as when we had Chinese food,
mhm,
and not because they still had that crunch and crispness to it because they were
mhm,
not overcooked.
mhm.
So yeah, don't overcook the food. Add the herbs at the end.
And why is it important not to overcook the vegetables and things?
Well, because you cook out the nutrition. How when we have a pot of greens that have, we say, "Ooh, I cooked them greens. I cooked them greens. Cooked them down. Cooked them down." That you cook out all the nutrition from the greens, and then we say the pot liquor. That's
Yes, yes.
where all the nutrition went. The nutrition
Oh,
is in the pot liquor because the greens are overcooked. Our foods are
nice.
very, very delicate.
Mm,
Even the hearty ones, they're very delicate
mhm.
because we were intended to eat them raw, pretty
Oh,
much. God did not
okay.
create stoves and microwaves and all of that. But when fire came along, things got extended. Yes.
Now you have really messed up my thought process because you said the pot liquor was was not the good stuff. That's I was just thinking, wow, we've always been said that that pot liquor, and if for those that are listening, that may not be from this particular culture, that means the juice is down there in the greens. It's got all the grease in there and the garlic and the onion and whatever else you put in there. It's down there, and that part of it, Melanie is saying, which I totally agree with. That part of it tells us that we've cooked away all the nutrients in those greens and we cooked them down. We said, oh, yes, we cooked them down. But that means we cook
Mhm.
them all down to when they're mushy and soft and all. We've actually cooked away the nutrients from those
Mhm.
greens. And I know
Mhm.
that people that are listening that love their greens on Sunday after church, they're now
Yes.
they're thinking like, oh, they're messing me up now. I got to change my
Mhm.
paradigm shift, just a little paradigm shifting here.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
it is for the best. It's for your health.
Yeah.
It's for your
Yes.
health, and I thank you for sharing that. I wanted to go back a little bit and talk a bit more, before we move on, about your, certificate that you received as a certified culinary nutrition expert, and I have
Mhm.
a picture of that now that I wanted to bring up. I want to first of all say congratulations to you, our beautiful queen sister,
Thank you. Thank you.
Melanie, thank you so much for being with us again. I have on the screen a certificate of expertise. It says it was awarded to Melanie Haymon, certified culinary nutrition expert. Tell us a little bit about this, and when did you get it, and what did you have to do to get that certificate?
Okay, that was the fall of 2018 when I did that program. And it was like a regular college course in that it was a full semester long. Most semesters are 12 to 16 weeks. And that was a 16-week program. And it took us through the steps of how to set up your kitchen, how to set up your pantry, how to decide if you want to go into business, how to decide what kinds of meals you want to specialize in, the foods that are healing and inflammatory. They gave us basic instruction in what you call it in your meats. If you eat meat, what kinds of meats to choose. We had pantry classes, knowing what foods we should have in our pantry, or everybody should have in their pantry. And of course, we learned that fresh is best. However, if you can't do fresh, then fresh frozen. And knowing that local is usually better, because it's also an issue with our environment, as you hear a lot of talk now about climate change and the pollution that has caused the climate change, and what we can do. So that's a little something that everyone can do, buying local as possible, and as close as your own backyard or front porch, whatever you have, to grow something, create some kind of a garden that's a little bit less on the environment. So that class, I had a good time with it. We had weekly assignments that we had to do and submit. Now, that company is in Canada, so it was all, what do you call it, virtual, digital.
Yes.
And they had modules that we had to pay attention to. They gave us tests that you had to pass with 90% or more, I think it was, or 80% or higher, So I really enjoyed the course. The instructor, Megan Teltner, I give her credit for her vision. And she started the program because she had some physical issues. She had Crohn's disease. And so she had been going to see a doctor for like 3 years and nothing was happening. So then she changed her eating habits and lifestyle, and she healed herself. Like I said earlier, the body is a self-healing body. And so once you start feeding it correctly, it can do what it has to do. And so that's how, and so then from there, it grew into a big business for her. And so she's well known. She's well known in the culinary world, especially the healthy versions.
Yes, that's excellent. And with that certification, are you able to take that certification and actually utilize it in other settings beyond what you already do? Meaning that if you wanted to,
yes, I can use it to, like, my next interest is giving classes. I like doing live things. The virtual is okay, but I like live. I'm like I said, I feed off the vibes of people, vibrations. And so I can work in stores or in camps or wherever, just about any place. Right now my focus is small because I still have a regular job. So, it's my immediate community. But I plan on stepping out and branching out a little bit further when I retire in a couple of years. Retire from my job, let me put it like that.
Okay.
Because we never really retire.
And tell us a little bit about your job as a career educator with the Los Angeles Unified School District. What do you do? Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I started that job over 30 years ago. I
Mhm.
know I look like I'm 30, but but, but it was over 30 years ago. I'm almost 60.
Oh
Um,
my.
yeah, I'll be 60 in August. And
Man,
so,
sure, you certainly don't look like it.
yeah, praise God. I
They
love to
say,
say it's the blueberries. Besides the good genes that I received from my parents, it's the blueberries. I love to
okay.
say that. But, but seriously, though, with LA Unified, I started back in 1988 and I walked the line in 89. And then 3 years ago, we had another strike. So I've gone full circle. I started in elementary school
Mhm,
and I've been, I worked in elementary 4 years, and then I went to middle school once I completed my credential, and I've been working in middle school ever since, except in 8th grade.
mhm,
LA Unified has gone through some changes, and a lot of them are very positive.
mhm,
Um, but when I started, they used to cook, and I'm tying this back to what I do. They used to cook in the
mhm,
cafeteria. Now that's not done mostly.
mhm,
And even though the focus now, they are trying to make sure that all children have something to eat,
mhm,
but our children are not eating the food. And
mhm.
I often have to tell the kids, it might not be your mother's cooking, but you won't be hungry. It might
Yes,
not
ma'am.
taste the best, but you won't be hungry. I
Right.
usually bring my lunch,
Mhm,
and twice, and this is at the school I'm at right now, twice I have walked home without my lunch and didn't have any other money, or didn't feel like walking across the street. So I ate the
mhm.
school food. I didn't like it, but I was not hungry
I see.
afterward.
Mhm,
Yeah. So my job is partially I do it because it's my gift.
mhm,
I'm able to figure things out. I've always been able to figure things out and break, even if I didn't know anything about it before, I can figure
mhm,
it out and break it down and make it presentable or palatable for diverse audiences.
mhm,
Um, and so I had to accept that and went with my gift,
mhm.
that I knew that I would not be hungry, be able to take care of myself. I'm a performing artist.
Uh-huh.
That's where Mocha House Productions come from.
When
And so
performing
I
as
combine
performing with
education and entertainment
okay.
through Mocha House Productions.
I see.
So
Mhm.
um,
Do you sing or dance or
Yes, I'm an actress, dancer. I don't claim to be a singer. I leave that to my mother and my sisters, but I
okay.
can because we grew up singing as the Haymon sisters. I'm a
Okay.
good alto and a tenor, probably more tenor now than alto.
Okay.
I did sing in the choir in college, and we did tour the state of California, and we sang with
Nice.
Journey. And so, yeah.
Yes, and you know what? I know down in somewhere in the bloodline, we're related because we
Yeah.
Haman sing.
Oh, yeah, I'm
We,
looking at you. Yeah, I'm looking at you. You look like my cousin Gwen.
right, and you look just like some of my cousins too. So, and
Yeah,
you're singing and helping people and serving and all that. That's
yes,
all what Hamans do. Okay, so
yes,
we're just gonna call it a night
exactly.
and say yes,
Yes,
we got
honey.
cousins.
Yes,
So
cousin.
okay, because it's just racking my brain. So we're gonna have to
Yeah.
hang it on that one. And also, you also have here in your bio that you came into this career also because there was many of the family members that they had a hypertension, and many of them actually were actually having untimely deaths because of this, and you were so bothered by that to the degree that you wanted to do something about it. So tell us a
Yeah.
little bit more about that and how that affected you and your career.
Uh-huh. As a wellness person, in high school, actually, it started in high school with a family research project that we had to do. And it wasn't as in depth. I did not find out as much information about the family at that time, but it piqued my interest. And then when I got to college
Mhm,
um, at San Diego State, I minored in Afro-American studies. So I had a Black family studies class, and Dr. Thomas had us do a research on our family. And we were talking about how family legacy and everything about a family legacy is passed on. And then I realized the connection that you didn't have to have these diseases, and that the families are passing on. And what is truly being passed on is the lifestyle. So in researching about my father's family, I found out that so many people, because we grew up mostly around my mother's family when my parents divorced in Fresno. So I found I didn't see family members who were ill. I saw other people who were ill at church and in the community, but I didn't see ill. Well, besides alcoholism, that's a certain kind of illness too. But besides that, I didn't see a lot of other stuff going on, but we always heard about it, you know, with the other people. Let's pray for sister and brother, you know.
Yes.
And that whole thing that bothers me to this day. But anyway, talking to my Uncle Willie, who was pretty much like the family historian for the Haymans, my father's family. And that was our big connection. He informed me of all these people who had passed away, and it was 13 of them, and then like 9 of them had diabetes where they had to have injections, and that just freaked me out. And I'm just like, what? So I'm just like, oh no, I ain't trying to be sticking myself in the finger or in the belly. I ain't trying to do all that. No. So it started with me.
I hear you.
That freaked me out. So I'm just like, no, I will not do that. So immediately, almost immediately, I quit eating pork.
Oh my.
Finding out the connection that pork had to hypertension in the Black family. And so I did a little experiment, and Dr. Thomas, once again, she was talking about how pork affects the human body. And she was saying how you have the ringing in your ear, you know, what's it called? Tinnitus. Right. And I'm like sitting in class looking around. She talking about me. I got a little ringing in my ear. So I'm like, okay, so I quit eating pork. No, I made sure I ate what I had left in my freezer.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, because, you know, in college, it was very affordable by the affordability pack, right? And then when I ran out for like 3 months, I made sure I didn't eat any pork, no bacon, no pork chops.
Oh, my.
The ringing went away.
Oh, my. So
then a few months later, I bought some pork. I call it unofficial, official, you know, testing, right? And I bought and had pork. Ringing came back. Finished that pack. I was done. I was done. I'm like, okay, this scientific method did work for me. So I was done with pork. And then the few times that I did try to eat pork after that, soon after that, I would say like within a year, my body was starting to heal from, you know, whatever else other effects was going on. When I would go home for a holiday, and my Aunt Bertha and my mother, they had the ham all cute and pretty and smelling good. And I want to taste, even a little finger taste, made me sick.
It made you sick just a little bit.
Made me sick. So I was like, okay, I can't do that. But of course, one more time, I tried it one more time, made me sick. I'm done completely. It took me about 3 years to be completely off of pork. And then, actually, you know what? I forgot what my point was. What was I talking about? Because I think I'm going away from the topic.
No, you were talking about how the family members were dying from hypertension because
I'm still there. So you know, like I said, I brought it back to me. But then, so then I just started telling the family, hey, y'all, you know, we need to start thinking about not eating the pork, you know, and let me go. You know, the Muslim brothers and sisters are on to something.
I see.
You
I
know, and
see.
of course it's hard to hear. It's hard. So then I said, okay, I'll just focus on me. And everybody
Mhm.
has accepted that and understand that.
Yes.
And so go a little bit further. Now I always share anytime I tried a new recipe or try something different, I always share. My sisters and
Mhm.
I, we have each other's keys to each other's house. So if I made a whole, because we all are single, live alone, we don't have any children. So you know, sometimes it would be too much. And I just go to my sister's house and put something in the refrigerator. So
Oh,
this is how it started. And then, yeah, just understanding that the family, you
mhm.
just got to share it with people. Just share it,
Yeah.
just give it to them. You know, don't tell them exactly what it is.
Mhm.
People are
Mhm.
afraid of change. That's the
Yeah.
main thing. And even
Mhm.
if they know it's going to help them, they're afraid of
Okay.
change. Things that they can do. That and that
Mhm.
that hurts my feelings because God created this beautiful earth to sustain us,
Mhm.
and we're more willing to go with these unnatural ways of sustaining ourselves. And so
Yeah.
that really hurt when I even had a minister say, and you eat that uh without any. I'm like, yeah, bro, but you got diabetes and one of your legs is gone.
Oh
So
my. Yeah.
yes, you know,
Yes.
and it might not be directly there, but it's just like, but that's what it is, and that's how I saw it. And
Yes.
so, you know, that's where I'm like, you're preaching all this stuff. You're talking about believing in God and trusting in God and following the word and the consequences that happen if you
Mhm.
don't follow the word. However, you can't eat right.
Right. It's holistic. It's holistic. And you are what you eat. We are familiar
Exactly.
with that old cliche, we and with no doubt about it.
Exactly.
However, we've not come to the realization just how profound that statement is and how to
Yes.
apply it in our life. As a
Yes.
culture, we tend to generally
Yes.
accept the same foods that they're good, and then we think the things that are healthy are bad. But there is a
Yes.
deeper meaning behind the way
Yes.
we eat. We eat
Yes.
habitually, don't we? Not
Yes.
intentionally. We eat out
Right.
of habit, and we
Right.
eat without consciousness, without
Yes.
thinking. We just kinda eat, and we master the taste and the sensation of how it feels in our mouths. And
Mm-hmm.
so this is why we all are not all, but this is sometimes why many of us have become so disconnected with the natural food that's out
Yeah.
there in our world. And I'm so glad that you, Melody, have actually come to understand the spiritual connection that we have
Yeah.
to food. And that's what I want
Yeah.
to talk about next is how do we connect spiritually with the food that we consume?
Touch it. Touch
Okay.
it in its natural form that God intended. Um, grow something.
Mhm.
Okay, like I said earlier, you know, if as I connected it to climate change, grow
Mhm.
something in your backyard or on your front porch or wherever you have a little bit of sunlight. Get you some
Mhm.
soil,
Mhm.
because all the earth, you know, we say we come from the earth, and to
Mhm.
the earth we will go back. So that's
Yes.
our spiritual connection. Touch
Mhm.
it. Go play in the dirt. I'm a grown woman who still plays in the dirt. I
Oh
get
my.
my nails done every 2 weeks, and I said, okay, I ain't gonna play in the dirt today, but
Okay.
I will go in a couple of days and dig in the earth because I love
Good.
my garden.
That's good.
And but grow something, grow your own food. That's it, watch it grow, just like we enjoy watching children grow.
Mhm.
Watch
Yes.
your plant grow. And
Yeah.
quit killing the dandelion and quit using Monsanto's Roundup and all of those unnatural um, herbicides. They're
All right.
killing us. Okay,
Mhm.
they're killing us.
They
That's
get it.
why the bees are dying off. The ants is even a problem with the ants, and we don't think so, but there's even a problem with the ants. All those creatures God created before us. So quit
Yes.
killing them.
That's
God
right.
created us last. Oh
Mhm.
my God. Not okay. Yeah, that's a whole
So
nother sermon.
I
God
understand. So
created us last.
yes, he
And
did.
then he worked so hard when he made us, he had to rest.
Yes, he did.
He had to rest
Yeah.
the
I hadn't
next
thought
day,
about it.
okay?
You're right.
So,
You really did.
so yeah.
So we you
That's the spiritual connection. Growing something for yourself, eating the apple straight off the tree, eating the
right.
orange straight off, pull your onion up out of the ground, grow your own sweet potatoes. You can do it. It's not complicated. Put some seeds out there, give it some water, water
Mhm.
it regularly, whatever the requirements are, God gonna take care of it. It takes care of itself. When my
Yeah.
house burned down, I didn't get to attend my garden for a couple of years. But when I
Mhm.
came back, I was just throwing out all the scraps from and I guess I missed something, and
Mhm.
tomatoes had grown up. Tomatoes grew up that summer when I came back. And I was just like,
Mhm.
I don't remember planting anything. I was just thought I was nourishing my soil that
Mhm.
I had because I had been gone for 2 years, right?
Mhm.
And I was just, stuff was growing. Stuff is still growing. I didn't plant anything in the garden in the last year because I
Mhm.
anticipate uh, some other work in my backyard. So I don't want them to mess it up. So I haven't planted any, but I
Mhm.
have onions that are still growing. I have what is that? Cilantro that pops up every now and then.
Mhm.
So it will take care of itself. You
Hey,
know.
that's good.
So just put some seeds out there. Whatever you like eating, whatever you don't like eating, that's the experiment. That's still spiritual. That's a spiritual connection. God created it. Eat it.
And
At
then
least taste it. It can't be too bad.
and you're saying we should eat raw food, we should and foods that heal, and then foods in a combination. So tell us a little
In
bit
a
about
certain combination.
the foods in combination. How does that?
Okay. So especially in our community, we love carbs.
Mhm.
Ooh, we red beans and rice, right? That's a
Yeah,
favorite. Any kind of beans and rice.
that's
Neither
right.
one is unhealthy unto itself.
Mhm.
Beans, very high in protein. You want to
Mhm.
include beans.
Mhm.
However, when you have, especially if you add meat to it, you don't need all those
Mhm.
combinations together. What you
Mhm.
want to do, and we laugh at the French meals, but
Mhm.
they have a
Mhm.
piece of meat and they have a vegetable, a green
Right.
vegetable.
Right.
Thus
Right.
the combination. Well, now they call that ketogenic. Okay,
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
keto diet. That's its
Yeah.
focus, and the natural fats.
Yes.
Okay, so we that's one combination that we can look at when you have a meat product. Um, just have some greens with it,
Mhm.
or a giant salad
Mhm.
that doesn't have a lot of carbohydrates in it, but might be protein rich also. We want to have that we do want to have a good balance of protein, carbohydrates, and fat. Now, carbohydrates is broken down into two categories, which, excuse me, are your fiber, okay, which
Mhm.
is all your vegetables and your
Mhm.
beans, okay,
Yes.
highly fiber, but it's also your sugars,
Mhm.
which the grains and the beans and what have you, they all have natural sugars. We don't
Yeah.
have to add the white sugar to our meals. We
Yes.
like things sweet. Well, you can use dates, So
Mhm.
that's one thing. Another thing is um eating more raw. Yes, having more raw food in your diet, even if you're not going to let go of the meat. I eat meat, but not very much. Okay.
Mhm.
But you want to make sure you have something raw every day because it has its fullest nutritional value. So it could be a raw juice, which you want to juice vegetables, eat your fruit,
Mhm.
eat your fruits, juice your vegetables. Okay. You
Okay.
can add a little
Mhm.
apple to it, or pear to it to give it a little more sweetness. But
Mhm.
the combinations that we like or that everyone is proud to say that they're juicing,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily have to do. Um,
Mhm.
so if you have a meal like, what did I have yesterday? Well, yesterday I had breakfast for lunch.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
had a apple,
Mhm.
uh, green apple with pineapple, a couple of frozen pineapple, mango, and banana,
Mhm.
and I blended them together. I broke my food processor, so I put it in the blender. It
Yes.
still tasted good. I added a little vanilla just to boost it a little bit. Teens of
Uh-huh.
salt, just boost it a little bit. That's the flavor part. But
Yes.
all of those are raw foods. And then I topped it
Mhm.
for more protein. Well, what else was in it? Oh, it had some almond butter
I
mixed
see.
in with it. And that helps to keep it combined, right?
The almond
I
butter. Yeah.
added,
Mhm.
added protein, but I
Mhm.
also topped it with some sunflower seeds, some
Mhm.
pumpkin seeds, and then I
Mhm.
went a step further. I put a little coconut because then I'm like, hey, I ain't going to work today. I'm taking care of me. I had a good
Mhm.
massage, so I did need extra,
I
and I
see.
put a little coconut flakes on it.
Mhm.
Did I put the hemp seed on there? I think I put hemp seed on there also. Um,
Mhm.
but the best. And I was full for the rest of the afternoon, until
Oh,
the evening.
my.
So all of that was raw food. All of that was raw.
Uh-huh.
Um, we become used to the cooked taste and the cooked
Mhm.
texture. But
Yeah.
if you train your tongue, just like anything else, you have to train it,
Mhm.
you have to try.
Mhm.
Um, then you can get used to it. But my thing is just try one thing at a time, one
Mhm.
thing raw that you haven't tried already, or one meal. When I really started getting into transitioning my diet, I started because, that's what I like. That's what does the most damage, right? So I started
That's
with
right.
dessert. And
Mhm.
making using more raw foods, and then I make a what is it called, peaches and cream pie,
I see.
that is raw,
Mhm.
um and it's delicious, and the peaches are not overcooked. You can
Oh,
taste the
my.
peaches and not all the extra sugar, because there's
Oh.
no extra sugar in it.
Uh,
I
mhm.
If you want it sweeter, you can add dates, you can add bananas. You
Mhm.
can make it a creamy custard without white sugar.
Mhm.
So
Bananas and dates will substitute
mhm,
the white sugar in there. And I'm gonna
mhm.
ask you this because I've been hearing this. Why is it why is it um, necessary to stay away from white sugar or at least kind of minimize the amounts that we use?
Because it's inflammatory. Okay. And inflammation causes disease. Inflammation equals disease. Disease is dis-ease. You're not okay. Okay. So, and I do this experiment on occasion. If I have not been using uh if I haven't been doing something for me, if I've been a bad girl, like I was last week, I was a bad girl.
Mhm.
And so my sciatic nerve and my started inflaming me, and
Mhm.
I was like, wow. And because I was eating stuff with white sugar and processed food, but
Mhm.
soon as I had like some carrot juice, that's what I had. I had some carrot juice,
Mhm.
and I was just tasting it just to get it right. And actually I was making it for somebody else. This is
Mhm.
what has happened over the years. I'm tasting to make sure it's right, and I'm
Okay.
making it for my seniors of somebody, and no sugar. My
Mhm.
body heals
Uh-huh.
whatever is going on, or you don't realize you're having an issue with your body, and then when it's not there anymore, you're like, oh, what happened?
Mhm.
So it's those white sugar is processed, and all the nutrients are stripped away.
I see.
So that's what most of the white food is that way.
Oh,
Okay.
my.
The nutrients are
Mhm.
stripped away. Grew
Mhm.
up loving me some white rice. And on occasion I still have some, but not as much as before,
Mhm.
with knowledge, right? Like you say in Hosea, now I have
Yeah.
knowledge and I know better. I
Yeah.
do better.
Right.
So I eat more brown rice, whole grain, to get all the
Mhm.
nutrients and let
Mhm.
it do what it has to do to the body.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want the stripped down version.
How
Okay.
about brown sugar? Would that be okay? Natural cane sugar.
It's natural cane. When I want sugar, that's what I use. Like, right, by accident, I bought some vegan brown sugar,
Mm-hmm.
and it's pretty good. It's a good replacement. But what I use in place of sugar mostly is agave nectar.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Agave
but sugar is sugar, sweetener is sweetener. It's pretty much the
nectar.
same, but the effects on the body are different.
Now tell us again what you use so the audience would know. You said you use was it agave nectar?
Agave nectar, and you can use that, replace it 1-to-1 the same.
Okay.
I've used it in most things. In most things that
Mhm.
I make, I've used agave nectar.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a science experiment, and I use agave nectar. I don't like, what's that new stevia? I don't like
Yeah.
that.
Uh-uh.
It has an aftertaste to me, and
Yes.
I can't stand it, but it's plant-based,
Yes.
which sugar is, it's a plant. Sugar cane is a plant.
Mhm.
And what else? I I don't recommend the other ones, those sweet and lows, and I don't even remember the names of them anymore.
Yes.
I just quit fighting people. The
Mhm.
little packs, the yellow
Yeah.
pack, the pink pack, the blue
Yeah.
pack.
Mhm.
Those things now, before they were approved by the
Mhm.
FDA, the president at the time back in the 80s, I'll just put it
Mhm.
like that. Um, they were considered killers.
Oh
And
my.
they enhance cancer. And
Mhm.
so I recommend, if you're gonna have any kind of sweetener, don't use the artificial sweeteners. None of them.
Yes.
None of
Yes.
them they're worse than the regular white sugar.
I
So
understand. So
yeah. So
you
you would just think of just sweetening it, whatever. A lot of us, our taste buds have become oversaturated
mhm.
with sugar or whatever, with these artificial flavors. And
Right.
so we want to ease into it. You have to start off with real sweet with dates
Mhm.
and bananas and agave. If you like it real sweet, fine.
Mhm.
But then eventually your taste, if that's your goal and you're drinking the water, your
Mhm.
body's going to tell you, I don't like that.
Uh-huh.
Please do something different.
Yes.
Okay. Either you're going to
Mhm.
reject it immediately
Mhm.
in your mouth, and you're gonna like, oh, what's that? When it's going down, when it settles in the belly, when it goes
Mhm.
through the intestines, when it comes out, some gonna tell, it's your body is going to let you know,
Mhm.
don't do that to me anymore.
I
So
see.
once you start improving, just, and don't be hard on yourself. If
Mhm.
you backtrack, it's okay. Just,
Yes.
stay focused, have a goal. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm
Mhm.
gonna stop eating Snicker bars.
Mhm.
Replace the Snicker bar with a banana. It's
Yes.
sweet. It has
Mhm.
texture. You could have a
Mhm.
banana with some natural chocolate
Mhm.
and nuts, and you good.
That's
That's a
right.
good.
That's
Mm.
excellent. That's
Yeah,
excellent. Now you also said that we are to be active. Be
yeah,
active. It's your
yeah.
life. Be mindful. Tell us a little bit about how are we to be active and how is that connected to food being our spiritual or a source being active.
hmm hmm Now, when God made our bodies
Mhm.
have joints and they move. We are
Yeah.
designed to move. The
Okay.
more we move, the more whatever we put in our mouth and comes through the belly, it will move better. Okay.
Okay.
So whatever kind of movements you are engaged in, it will help everything go through the body better, assisted with water, right?
I yes.
So you don't have to be a vigorous mover. Even at my age, I'm still pretty vigorous. That's
Yes.
what makes me feel good, but I'm trying to come down because I'm scared I'm going to hurt myself.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, but you just want to keep your joints moving. It helps fight the inflammation. It helps
Mhm.
keep the blood circulating. It helps move the lymphs because the lymphs don't move by themselves. You got to move
Yeah.
those lymphs. That's where the cancers are, right? You got to
The
move those lymphs, and
meaning limp,
keeps your
limps.
brain stimulated.
You
Keeps your
said move the move the
lymph,
lymph
lymph,
like
the
lymph
lymph.
noise.
Lymph
Okay.
nodes, yeah,
Okay.
lymphs. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And cause see, like the circulation of the blood, it has the heart to pump it through,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But the
Yes.
lymph nodes, they're just there, and they
Yes.
have the fluid, but
Yes.
it needs to be stimulated. So you have to move to stimulate those lymphs.
I see.
All
I
righty.
see. Yes.
So you can do, and I recommend it because it is a spiritual connection, but it's not a religion, which our people have confused. Yoga, that's a gentle yoga, beginners yoga,
Mm-hmm.
restorative yoga, especially if you have issues with your knees or your hips.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even if you have a heart condition, you can still do restorative yoga. Whereas when you get
Mm-hmm.
into a pose or a posture, an asana,
Mm-hmm.
you sit in it and allow your body to open up and awake and allow the blood to circulate and just allow your mind to be free.
Mm-hmm.
I like a little bit more flow.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'm still pretty vigorous.
Okay.
I am a certified yoga instructor. So
Uh-huh.
that's one thing I recommend for our people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you are obese, if you are near a pool, a swimming pool of some kind, you don't have to swim. I'm not a swimmer, but I do recommend swimming or at
Mm-hmm.
least getting in the pool and walking across the pool. Start off 10 minutes, whatever your body and breath can tolerate,
Mm-hmm.
and build up over time. Don't be so hard on yourself. Oh, I didn't make that half hour. If you have to do it in 3 or 4 shifts, that's
Mm-hmm.
fine, whatever your time allows.
Mm-hmm.
However, with the water, that buoyancy, right? And you don't have
Yes,
that pressure on your joints.
I see.
Okay, so a lot of people who are overweight, the pressure on their joints, they have no cartilage in their joints because of the
Mm-hmm.
weight, and it hurts. You hear them say it hurt. Yeah, it hurts because it's not protected.
I
So
see.
the water helps to protect you, and then it's also like a wound thing too,
Yes, I
going
see.
into the womb and getting that protection, so
Yeah.
that amniotic fluid, right? So that's what
Yeah.
that's all about.
Oh,
You can
now
work
talk
in
to
your yard, just be
Mhm.
active, be active. Like I said, I love to garden. That's some work, bending, working those
Right.
abdominal muscles. And I like when I
Mhm.
pull out the shovel and the big clips, I like my back muscle. I be like, oh, look at my back. Oh, 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 you know. I like how my body looks when it's lean and toned, it's exciting.
And
That's
yes,
just me,
great stuff.
you know.
Now talk
Yeah,
to us a
it
little bit
does.
about talk to us a little bit about organic foods and how is that connected to us spiritually through food?
Oh, wow. Oh, so you know what that leads me to soul food. That's an
Okay.
acronym, SOUL. Okay, soul, seasonal. We should eat seasonal,
Mhm.
organic,
Yes.
unprocessed, and local, which I've talked about them already.
Mhm.
Organic, we want to be as organic as possible in that we don't want those pesticides in our system that is killing us. We
Mhm.
want as little as possible because it's in the environment, so it's going to be there.
That's right.
But if you are growing your own foods and you're not putting the traditional pesticides in the ground or on blowing, spraying them onto your foods, then you have organic food. And the organic food doesn't have to fight through the pesticide in order to get to do what it is designed to do, to heal your body,
Yes.
to
Good.
nourish your body.
That makes good
So
sense.
so organic, and now they're trying to charge us more for it. To me, I'm like, well, organic is really less work. I don't understand
Mhm.
this, why our organic food has to be costing more than conventionally grown food. And so we have to continue to send that message. We want organic food.
Mhm.
If you want to go through the major markets. But of course, there are some smaller markets, community garden. Even if you don't have your own space, if you live in an impacted
Mhm.
city,
Mhm.
there are community gardens. You can rent a little space. You can, or go in with some other people and build up your own garden. And then they usually don't allow
Yes.
pesticides in a community garden.
Mm-hmm.
There are what is it called? CSAs, where you can have organic food sent to you. I have
Mm-hmm.
a box that I have sent to me once a week. No, it's every 2 weeks, because it was like, oh, it's so much food and it's a small box. But
Okay.
I send the box to my cousin. I share with my cousin to make sure
Mhm.
that she has diabetes, and I'm like, I need to make sure that you get more.
I
So, I have it
see.
just to make sure I have more green food here, and so if
That's
it's too
right.
much, then I'll make a smoothie. It'll become a smoothie. Or sometimes, or I do share with my sister and whoever stops by. I
That's
got
good.
friends who have kids, and a
Mhm.
lot of times people get unemployed. Okay, fine. I'm still working here. Take this box. I've been
That's
doing
good.
that, receiving that box for
Wow.
about 3 years now.
That's good. That's such a blessing to share with others. That
Yeah.
is such a blessing. And
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit about what are the best foods for optimal health and well-being? Just a variety of foods, would you say, especially for people of color?
Yes. The green leafy foods. We love collard greens. Okay, eat collard greens. Just don't put the fat back. And I don't even remember what else, all the other pork and greasy stuff. You
Mm-hmm.
can combine that with a healthier oil,
Mm-hmm.
olive oil, coconut oil.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they do have smoke flavors that's
Mm-hmm.
available, that's collected from
Yes.
actual smoking. So
Mm-hmm.
it seems like it's a process thing, but it's better.
I
So
see.
eating the green leafy foods, and not overcooking them.
I see.
Um, so like I said, any of the greens, all of the greens,
Mm-hmm.
adding. Ugh, I still can't stand them, but I my commitment was twice a year, and so far I'm doing okay. Brussels sprouts,
Okay.
yeah, broccoli. I love broccoli. So
Mm-hmm.
cooked, steam it,
Mm-hmm.
but don't steam it for a half an hour. It only needs to be steamed for like 6 minutes at the most, eight,
Mm-hmm.
very very most if it's thick, right?
Yes.
Get your Christopher. Oh, I can't say it today. Cruciferous vegetables. Okay,
I
so
see.
your broccoli, your
Mm-hmm.
cauliflower, very anti-cancer. All of these are
Mm-hmm.
highly anti-inflammatory, and cauliflower is very very versatile.
I see.
You can use it in place of traditional white rice. You can use it
Mm-hmm.
in your smoothie if you don't like bananas or avocados.
Mm-hmm.
It does a lot of things.
Mhm. Now, while you're thinking,
Um,
I'm gonna throw something else in there because this is just really bothering me. Just the green thing, the greens and butt liquor and cooking them down. How should we cook our greens, Melanie?
this one
Collard greens.
brother that I used to go to his restaurant, he call it, what did he call it? Steam fry.
Okay.
Sometimes you want to put it in a pot. You don't have time to stand there. But like last night, I made kale with
Mhm.
black beans. And here's the time I had some white rice because I was trying to recreate that dish that he made, and onions. But
Okay.
I put a little coconut oil and olive oil in
Mhm.
the chop the greens up fine, or not too
Mhm.
fine. I wanted a little more texture, so they were
Yeah.
about an inch, quarter inch,
Mhm.
maybe an inch and a half.
Mhm.
And I got the pan warm, and I put the greens in it, the kale, because kale
Mhm.
is a little more tough. And this was the dinosaur lacinato kale.
Mhm.
Um, and kind of like stir fry,
Uh-huh.
and
Mhm.
then I added just like maybe a tablespoon or two of
Mhm.
water. And there's
Uh-huh.
that steam that's cooking it.
Mhm.
Because remember, the vegetables have water.
Mhm.
There,
Yes.
most of the vegetables are 75 to 90% water.
Yes.
So we don't have to have a lot of water. The water comes off from being cooked. So I'm cooking it, I'm stirring, and then I added in the garlic, the little bit of salt and some pepper, the other seasoning.
Mm-hmm.
Just stir frying it,
Mm-hmm.
stir cooking, and then then put the lid on and let it cook down a little bit, and then you taste and see if the texture is where you want it to be or where you can tolerate it if you're not there yet, right?
Yes.
But you're
Mm-hmm.
getting better instead of putting it in the pot, putting a lot of water, and then letting it just cook
Yeah.
for, I don't even know how long it brings
We
people cook great.
let it cook about 4 hours. Put a lot of
See,
those ham
see
hocks in
that?
there and
You
ham hocks,
see.
all that.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's
Yeah,
a lot.
not good.
Mm-mm.
Not
Mm-mm.
good. But we're going to
Yeah.
change. We're going to do better
Mm-hmm.
as of today and as of listening to this
Mm-hmm.
podcast discussion with you, Melanie. We're going to do better. We're going to do better.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
talk a little bit with you about your sisters. You and your sisters. You have three sisters, and just wonder you all are just wonderful people to the degree that you not only do you do things to help yourself
Yes.
and build community amongst your family members, but you've actually
Yeah.
given out to the community in a great way. Tell me
Yes.
a little bit about the Haman Scholarship Fund and what is that and how was it birthed and how could someone in your area actually benefit from it?
The Haman Scholarship Fund started, I don't know, over 20 years ago at our church, True Vine Missionary
Mhm,
Baptist Church in Inglewood.
mhm.
We were active there when as junior women, and we noticed that the teens under us, they really weren't going to college,
Okay.
or
Mhm,
if they did, they got pregnant and dropped out, or they were
mhm,
getting pregnant before they got to college, and we were like, wow,
mhm.
what's wrong? What's going on? Why? And so we decided to try to do something to inspire them or motivate them to graduate high school and go to college without um, having children or before having children,
Mhm.
attaining a dependent, because it's so much easier. Life is so much easier, at least getting started, when it's just
Yes,
you.
I see.
And so we started, we chose four young ladies in our church, who we love. Well, actually, it started because one of the young ladies, well, the actual growth, because we had been thinking about it, talking about it for a while. One of the sisters asked my sister Cheryl for a donation for
Mhm.
something for her high school. And Cheryl said, okay, I'll give it to you through, if I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was kind of like a challenge.
I see.
And yeah, and so she was our first candidate, high school candidate. And so we had one in high school, one in junior high, or two in junior high. They were like 3 years spaced out, 2 or 3 years apart, and one
Yes,
in elementary.
I see.
And yeah, so she was our first one. She made it through. Um, she didn't get pregnant. We were proud of
Mhm.
it. But then when she got married, she got cut off.
Oh boy.
I was like, ah, but of course we were still there to support her, you
Yes,
know. Um, I gave her, whatever she asked for, whatever she needed. Not that she wasn't, asked for a lot or anything, but I wanted to encourage her,
yes,
as Melanie Heyman, just to make sure,
yes,
she knew the difference,
yes.
and then I can't remember who was in between. And then
Mhm.
our number four, when she came up, she decided not to go to college.
I see.
I think she didn't even graduate from high school. And so we were so disappointed. But of course, we loved her just the same,
Mhm.
though we watched her grow up. We watched them grow
Mhm.
up. She
Yes.
she was real young when we met her. She was like two,
Mhm. Oh my.
so yeah. So that's how it started. And then as it progressed, we were trying to figure out, well, how can we, make this work? And we gotta, I'm like, well, let's add the boys in. They part of the equation too. And so
Right.
we took in, whoever applied. And
Okay.
for me, watching how our people do not take us as seriously as the others,
Mhm.
um, in that they had a simple application process and a simple accountability. In
Mm-hmm.
that we asked that they send their report card and write a statement.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know, we
Mm-hmm.
asked that you maintain a C. We ain't asking for, extreme A's or anything like you didn't, if you can get there, we're gonna support you as best we can. And
Right.
so I'm not the manager. Uh, my sister Lisa was, and so she was always telling us and showing us what was going on. And then the writing abilities, our students didn't have the basic writing abilities, so we workshops.
I see.
We were doing whatever we could, and which we had some kind of workshop at least once a year, and we
Mm-hmm.
did personal, what do you call it, consultations and
Yeah.
or whatever they needed, at least as needed,
Mm-hmm.
um so if there was an emergency from somebody else who wasn't one of our regular candidates that we were supporting
Mm-hmm.
through their college years, we offered emergency funds like that. So like if you had to come home for a family emergency or you needed to get back to school,
Yes.
and you didn't have the funding, if we had the money, we
Mm-hmm.
gave it to you. We
Yes.
supported our community like that.
Now,
Um,
now tell me the picture that I have up on the screen at this time. I see
mhm,
people here. Tell me who the people are, and you hope someone's holding a sign that says Haman Scholarship Fund. We got a lot of people
mhm,
smiling here. Tell me a little
mhm.
bit about this picture, Melanie.
Okay, so in this picture, you see the board members plus one. Um, and going from my left to right in the blue, you notice the Haman sisters we have on a similar top. The blue, that's Cheryl Lynn, and I would
Mhm,
call her the founder, and she was the president of the organization. And
mhm.
then Elisa Marie Heyman, she's the administrator, and Melanie in the purple. And who is that man? I can't think of that man's name. I think he's a family member. I can't think of
He
his
look,
name.
he looks like it.
He was there to support us. And
Okay.
then that's I'm sorry. And then that's Valerie Lodium, um, our publicity, and she did a lot of things with us. She's our sister friend.
Mhm.
She's a Haman plus.
Good.
um, and so that was an event that we had a scholarship event. It was a really nice event. It turned out to be a really hot day though. I remember
Mhm,
that. Um, the sign, the poster, the logo
mhm.
shows a money jar.
Yeah.
So the funds came from just our change, just bringing in the change.
Oh my.
And then you have someone in the background in the grad high school. I think that was a high school graduate, and then different college. I believe those are all college degree covers,
I see.
um, to encourage and so that people can see that it's doable. It has been done.
That's
We all
beautiful.
have post baccalaureate experience.
Uh-huh.
Cheryl went to Fresno State for a couple of semesters, but she got her degrees, her credentials, I would say, from what is it, LA Trade Tech and LA City College, I believe. And Lisa, she didn't want to go to college, but she was very academic, and she started working immediately from high school, but eventually she did get her AA degree, and she
Mhm.
works at UCLA, so she's around academia all the time, and so she has
Yes.
access to lots of information, and
Mhm.
she take whatever class comes along. She's like, I'm taking
Mhm.
whatever they got to offer.
That's good.
And then, yeah, and Valerie is a college graduate also from San Jose State.
Mhm.
And that gentleman in the background, I think he got his doctorate. He was working on his doctorate at the time. And then
Mhm.
there's me. I have my undergraduate. I did attend Fresno State for 2 years, and I transferred
Mhm.
to San Diego State, and that's
Mhm.
my alma mater, where I got
Mhm.
my bachelor's degree in psychology,
Mhm.
and I minored also in Afro American Studies. And then when I moved to Los Angeles, I got my teaching credential at Cal State Dominguez Hills and my
Mhm.
master's degree in education from Cal State Dominguez Hills. I started the application process for the doctorate. That's on the list. That's on
That's
the
on the
list.
list.
I'm going to do
Uh-oh,
it.
you should have told me. You've got to do it. You got
I'm
to
like,
do
oh,
it.
Dr. Carla. I'm like, yes. But you know what? I put it
Yes.
on the back burner because I was struggling because I think I can't write. And that
Mhm.
just always just kind of messed me up.
Yes.
I'm very casual. And so
Mhm.
that's how I approach everything. And I've been successful so far, but I beat myself up more than anything with
Yes.
that. And so then one of my cousins said, well, don't worry about it. Do it after you retire. So I just kind of put it on the back burner. But just recently in the last 2 years, I'm like, I ain't gonna wait till I retire. I'm gonna do it now because this is what I know. But
That's right.
um I'm like, you know what, but I don't like that hustle bustle anymore. I'm like, no, because everything's electronic, and I'm just like, oh, that just takes me here, right? So,
Yes.
but I in the last few years, I have decided that I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna pursue it. I
Mhm.
did apply to Cal, not Cal. I'm so used to saying Cal State to Loyola, which is like one of the number one schools, Loyola
Oh,
Marymount.
yes,
I
yes,
didn't
it
get
is.
accepted, but I ain't tripping because I know I kind of did a rush job and the writing was horrible. It
Okay.
was horrible because I did that to myself. I'm saying I
Mhm.
can't write, I can't write, I can't write. So
Right.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the basics here because I don't want to
Right.
mess it up. But
Right.
I still plan to pursue it, and it sticks with me because one of the stories my mother told me is I said I was about 4 years old, 3, 4 years old, and I
Mhm.
saw a doctor or something, and I said, I'm gonna be a doctor. I'm gonna
Mhm.
be a doctor. My mother said, okay, Melanie. And I told her, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be a doctor. She's like, yeah, but you gotta go to kindergarten first.
Okay.
So I'm like, I know that has been in my brain, in my spirit for a
Yes.
long time. So I was like,
Yes.
I got to finish this process.
And
Yeah,
you will. And you will.
I will. I do
Yes.
everything I've set out to do. So I know it. I know I'm going to do it.
And I'm cheering you on now, and I'm gonna be pushing you. I'm gonna get on that Facebook. I'm gonna be like, "Have you did it yet? Have you started it yet?" I'm gonna be your, I'm gonna be
Thank
your
you.
worstest nightmare. You're like, "Oh, here she comes again." That Dr.
Yep.
Pamela asking
Thank
me again.
you.
Yes, you shouldn't have told me that. Oh Lord.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you. Got to have that support
yes,
team.
that's right. Hey, Melody, what would you like to share with us? Anything else that we didn't talk about before we transition to a close? Anything else you want to share with the audience?
Um, I just want to say to my people, um, love yourself. Love yourself and show yourself love by doing the things that are good for you.
Yes.
And being good for you doesn't mean that it has to be boring or unexciting or what else? I don't know. What do people call being good? Um, you know, even people even
Amen.
think of being a Christian as being boring, but
Yeah.
I'm exciting. I'm an
Yeah.
exciting person. I'm interesting, so just be good to yourselves,
That's good.
and
Mhm.
love God through loving yourself.
That's good.
And our body is a vessel to show God.
Mhm.
So
That's
when you're
right.
eating right and you're doing good by yourself, you have that inner glow.
That's
And so
right.
that's the glow of God.
Mhm. And you truly have that. You do.
Thank
You have
you.
that. The smile just lights up a room. I tell
Thank
you.
you.
So blessed by having you as my guest. It's just a beautiful, beautiful connection that Lord gave us through your sister. I first came in contact
Okay.
with your sister, Cheryl, and then I said, that's got to be my cousin and my other cousins. Where they at? So I had to find you. I'm gonna be
Thank
optimistic
you.
because my brother, your brother, your cousin, Greg, he lives out in Los Angeles. Well, he lives toward Pasadena. He and his wife. That's my brother. We're about a year and a half apart, and we call ourselves twins. So
Awesome.
but I'm the smart twin. So
Okay.
anyway, you got to connect with him on Facebook,
We
Gregory.
will.
Haymon, and he'll be so happy to connect with you. But when I come out to see
Awesome.
him this summer, I'm gonna be coming out to see you all too. Okay. Yes, we'll actually get to meet in person, not over the phone.
Yes. Awesome.
But once again, I truly appreciate your sharing with the listening audience today. And we
Thank
just
you.
persevered through. We had some technical difficulties, audience, but
Yes.
we aim as persevere, and we kept
Yes,
going.
we do. Yes.
We got it. Yes, we did. And so I'm glad that we had this conversation. It was rich,
Thank
and you
you.
encouraged us to kind of get outside of our traditional ways of eating and to eat
Yes.
right, eat properly, so that we can have long, healthy, productive lives and get that
Yes.
glow, the glow from the inside out, like you said. I love and appreciate that. So Melanie Lee Heyman of
Yes.
Melody Mocha Meals and Mocha House Production was our
Yes.
special guest this evening on the Lotus Flower podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a blessed afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye bye for now. Yes, Melody Mocha Meals and Melody House Productions live on the Lotus Flower podcast. Our topic was our spiritual connection to food, our spiritual connection to food. And she spoke with us about raw foods and why they are good, foods that heal the body, foods that we should combine in combination to make a meal. She talked with us about the importance of coming away from white sugar and why that can actually be cancer causing. She talked with us about being active, that it's your life. Be mindful of the food that you eat. Walk, move, dance, travel so that you can be active. And when you're being active, it actually connects you to the spiritual source, which is your food. It keeps the food moving around in your system, and you're able to actually become a whole and productive and healthy person holistically. She talked with us about the importance of organic foods and how we are to actually begin to go to local farmers markets or plant gardens in our backyard or plant gardens with a neighborhood group. And not only that, but share. Begin to share what the Lord has blessed you with. Share your food and share those nutritious meals that you make. She also spoke with us about a scholarship fund that she and her two sisters started almost 20 years ago called the Haman Scholarship Fund. And it's a fund that first started out for young ladies to encourage them to go to college and to delay the gratification of having children prior to being married. And they found that the scholarship fund was very successful in encouraging the young women to the degree that they began to include the young men as well. And the young men have benefited from the Haman Sisters Scholarship Fund as well. You can reach out to Ms. Melanie Lee Heyman via their social media page on Facebook under Melanie Lee Heyman or via email at heymanlee2@yahoo.com. Once again, Melanie Lee Heyman, Mocha House Productions, Melody Mocha Mills, Educator, and Culinary Nutritionist. Thank you so much for being our special guest today. And now we would like to have a word from our sponsors.
Be sure to contact Rock Dimensional Consulting, LLC, where Dr. Ketra L. Davenport King is the proprietor and business consultant. Located in the beautiful Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area, her services are available nationwide online. The Rock Dimensional Consulting, LLC firm's mission is to build businesses on a solid foundation and equip leaders. RDC helps business leaders solve complex business problems, improve efficiency, empower teams, and implement long-term sustainable sustainable improvements. The hours of operation are 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. You may contact Dr. Davenport King via phone at 940-227-1615. The website is at www.lifeafterag.org and email them at rockdimensionalconsulting@gmail.com. Dr. Ketra Davenport King's business prides herself on the following motto: building businesses on a solid foundation. Are you looking for unique, fun, fashionable clothing at a fraction of the cost? Then you've got to check out Jasmine's Fun Fashions. Jasmine's Fun Fashions is a locally owned mother-daughter consignment boutique located in the beautiful town of Morganton, North Carolina. They have over 14 years of consignment, fashion apparel purchase, and retail experience and pride themselves in providing excellent customer service as well as establishing long-lasting friendships with consignors and customers. Reach out and shop with them online via their website, jazzybiz24.7@gmail.com. However, if you're ever in the Morganton, North Carolina area, be sure to stop in the store, which is located at 304 Burkmount Avenue in Morganton, North Carolina, 28655. You may also call the store to inquire about merchandise at 828-544-5187. Their hours of operation are Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They serve their customers with the motto of excellence. Are you looking for a friendly place to purchase your beauty supplies and hair supplies for the entire family? Well, you found the right place. Cali Beauty Supply, located at 1614 West Main Street in Kalamazoo, Michigan. They offer outstanding customer service and believe deeply in giving back to their community. Mo El Katabi is the owner. Customers can shop in the store or online. Curbside pickup is also available. They also have a full-service salon inside of the business called Stephanie Renee Salon. Be sure to check them out as well. You may reach the store for your online purchases via their website at www.calibeauty.com. Their hours of operation are Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The business prides itself with the following motto: where beauty gets done.
And we also have an advertisement from He Rings Magazine. He Rings Magazine, inspiring, impacting, and reflecting news. The founder is Tayo Ajenajay. Are you looking for an enjoyable magazine reading experience, online or in print? Well, search no more. He Rang Magazines produces a quarterly Christian publication in the city of Kalamazoo and throughout the world. They have revamped their approach to advertisement to include digital content. Digital content has been the strategy of marketers for many decades. However, He Reigns magazine has recently embarked upon this new strategy. Now, it doesn't mean that the magazine won't be in print, because you can get your He Reigns magazine at several grocery store and news outlets throughout Kalamazoo, Michigan. Yet and still, we want you to know that He Reigns magazine is available online at HeReigsMagazines.com. Stay connected, stay informed, and stay in touch. Subscribe today to He Reigns Magazine. Reach out to Tayo Ajena J at 269-598-2778. Once again, He Reigns Magazine. We also want you to know that the Lotus Flower podcast has monetized our podcast, meaning that we have ads available for purchase for businesses, churches, personal, weddings, whatever you might want to advertise. We have available advertising space at a fraction of the cost for those podcasts that are airing in our area and on live stream. We would encourage you to reach out to us via email at emerginghope@gmail.com, or reach out to us via our Facebook page at Dr. Pamela Robinson, and let us know that you're interested in purchasing an ad on the Lotus Flower Book Club, or purchasing an ad here on the Lotus Flower podcast. We have a special offer for those of you that will purchase an ad for the first time. You will save 10% off of your first purchase. So be sure to reach out once again to us here at the Lotus Flower podcast to purchase your podcast, business, church, personal, or whatever you may want to use to advertisement for ad. We have over 740 active subscribers on our audio platforms at this time, and your advertisement will be reaching thousands of people, not only in the United States, but all over the world, as they learn about you and the service that you provide. So, once again, reach out to us at the Lotus Flower Podcast via our email at emerginghope@gmail.com, or via the Facebook page under the Dr. Pamela Robinson Facebook page, and we will give you additional information on how to get started with our advertising on the Lotus Flower Podcast. Thank you all so much for joining us today, as we spoke once again to our special guest, Melanie Lee Haymon, on the spiritual connection to our food source.